Hello, I'm Tan the Tambio TC channel. I hope I'm speaking loud enough. I have to be close to the goddamn camera in order to be heard, so I'm trying to shout practically at the camera and try and keep that consistent. But hopefully you can hear me fine. And I wanted to talk about Batman 89, the first one. I got some friends here, as you can see. Uh, I don't really have 89 clothes, so mostly this stuff, and it was hard to get me on camera because of how this doesn't zoom out enough. So that sucks. But I want to talk about this. It's not my favorite of the Tim Burton Batmans. I actually like Returns a little better because I love how dark and that Tim Burton's style shows more in that one. Also, just not a fan of the backstory that they made Jack Nicholson's Joker the Killer. They also gave him a name and a personality background. Well, he already had a personality, but like one that was attached to a established character with an identity and background. I like it better when the Joker is mysterious and prefers multiple choice. But I just find him much more terrifying that way. And it's just not necessary for him to be connected to Batman. And I just came off of watching Scruffulus, I think his name. He's the one that uses the crab as his picture from the hermit crab guy from Moana animated movie. You probably know who I'm talking about if you do know who he is from that. But I just came off of his Tim Burton ranking, and man, I just hard disagree with it. Uh, Look, I love Edward Scissorhands, but I wouldn't put it that high, even with the emotional storytelling and the visuals. It's good, and it's definitely up there for mine, like third place probably, but I put Batman Returns and Beetlejuice over it. Man, I hate his take on Beetlejuice, and the fact that the reason he put the second one higher was just because it was mostly fun and focused on characters he wanted to. I don't agree with that. I think that it's good that we got so little screen time with Beetlejuice in the original, and he's much more. His dialogue's much more memorable there. Hell, Willem Dafoe's great. I love Willem Dafoe, and I'll never say otherwise. But he's also not in that movie enough, and I don't remember any dialogue he said. I don't remember any quotable stuff of him. He's an interesting character, sure, but I don't remember a damn thing he says. I love the Beetlejuice from the original. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every time I see it. So what do you think? Am I qualified? Like, there's just so many more memorable and iconic moments from him in that. He's just so fun. Um, and he talks about how the main two, the Maitland's characters, are boring. I think they're meant to be that way. That's the point. They're the straight people to the bizarreness going on around them. But anyways, enough talking about that. I just freaking wanted to rant a little bit about Scruffulus. I freaking hate Scruffulus's freaking video on that. There's just so many problems, other problems I could come up with, but that's not what this video is about. This is about 89. And by the way, he doesn't like Michael Keaton's Batman. I think I'm going to smash him in the head with this. But I love Michael Keaton's Batman. I think he is the on one of the definitive Batmans. You don't see him. I think Nostalgia Critic does put it best, even though I don't think this is better than the Dark. Excuse me, than the Dark Knight. But I do think there are a lot of things that work here. Jack Nicholson's still a lot of fun, and I do agree that he probably takes up most of the screen time and character development, which he really shouldn't, because once again, why does he have a background and why is he connected to Batman? That's just kind of silly. But I still like how they handled Bruce here. He was mysterious. I Yeah, he does seem clueless at times, but I wouldn't say that that's the major thing he does a lot. You can still see that he has a lot of good character development with Vicky Vale in that, and trying to make the hard choices to reveal to whom he wants to, if he's Batman, that he's Batman. There's just a lot of good show don't tell things with him too, with his character. But as well as like other characters trying to find out who he is and why he's the way he is. He's mysterious and interesting, and it feels like Batman through and through. He's a great, and of course, even though there's not much like detective work done in a lot of these Batman movies, sometimes I that is something I kind of liked Mask the Phantasm and the Matt Reeves Batman a little more. But there is detective stuff going on in some of the other Batmans, just not as strong and overtaking the majority of the film. But yeah, I the style isn't quite there yet in this one. This still has a great style to it, but I think Returns has the better style. And sorry that this is reflecting on so much. But yeah, it has the better style to me, and it goes more out there Tim Burton feel. Um, but yeah, I still love the way. Like, here's the thing. I actually want to mention this, but I do love Jack Nicholson's Joker. But whenever I saw his Joker in the lineup of like Tim Burton villains, put him next to Penguin and Catwoman. Catwoman and Penguin look like Tim Burtonified characters. This Joker doesn't really look that way for me. This kind of looks like the studio or committee had the last say, where they were like, make him look as comic accurate as you can. The most Tim Burton that's out of him is probably the way the smile's done. But other than that, it looks more like committee said, make him as close to the Joker as you can with this guy. Let's bring him over here, actually. But yeah, make him as close as you can to the Joker. And I'm sorry for the dark lighting. I should probably turn on the lights for this, actually. Let me go, whatever. It's a dark film. This is a dark video. Frick you. Yeah, and I knew that'd happen. Yeah, this Jack Nicholson Funko Pop doesn't want to stand up. If you can even see him there. Because my arm's in the way a lot of the time. But yeah, but I weirdly saw Heath Ledger's design looked more Tim Burtonified. He has the Glasgow smile. He's a lot darker looking. The makeup and such, how messy it is. It looked weirdly more Tim Burton, even though it still works for the film that he's in too. So yeah, it is kind of. I can see Heath Ledger's Joker design in a lineup next to that Batman Returns Catwoman, his Batman, and a matter of fact, that's another thing that gives an indicator that this is not quite the Batman from the comic books, is the costume. Batman in the comics, at the time at least, never wore like really a full, maybe in some comics, but most of the time we knew Batman, he wore gray and black or blue and black, and he had his freaking underpants on the outside. This is full like black with yellow highlights to the belt and the bat signal. That's what makes it feel like Tim Burton is the design of this version of Batman. And the head movement thing, he originally did it as like otherworldly kind of thing, but yeah, it is goofy. And the Dark Knight kind of makes a joke about it, which they fixed the costume. Well, kinda. Some people do prefer the other versions of the costume. I think Batman Returns has my favorite version of the costume because it looks like body armor, and it still creates this version perfectly. It also it fixes the bat signal too, where it doesn't look like what the nostalgia critics said it looked like, where it looks like he has two bat dicks on the side. Yeah, more like this. Weirdly enough, it's kind of weird that both his bat wing and this symbol on the front are accurately portrayed, as well as like the opening. And I love that music that plays. It's not. Is it Danny Elfman or is it? I think it's Danny Elfman. For some reason, I would thinking John Williams, but it's Danny Elfman. But this is one of my favorite Batman scores. I do like the Dark Knight as well, but This is a really awesome song that gets me. His music in this really gets me pumped. There's of course some Prince songs, which I don't mind, and I used to like some of Prince's stuff back in the day. I still kind of do, but yeah, I can see why people would be distracted by it in places. Um, but yeah, this was still a really fun film to watch. It was really cool. It was weird that Scruffulus said it was boring. I never found it boring. He just kind of seems like a I don't want to say man child, but not in that kind of way, but more of a man child in a more literal like he needs something that he yay, you know, he needs something like something that has a lot of energy going on screen from what I'm getting from his stuff, and it's like, dude, you need at least some slow moments too. Come on. Why does everything have to be all wacky, crazy, all over the place? Hence why you like to Beetlejuice and stuff. It kind of felt like that was the energy I was getting from him. That he didn't have the patience or the what's the word for it? The mental, like kind of the mental capacity to like watch that for long periods of time or whatever. I don't know. I'm forgetting the word for it right now, but yeah. But I think this is a wonderful film. I definitely highly recommend it. It's not my personal favorite Batman film. I put other ones over it, like The Dark Knight. I love Batman Mask the Phantasm more. Of course, I talked very briefly about Batman Returns. I think it's a lot darker, and I love how ridiculous it is. I watched that as a child, by the way. Same with this. I also kind of hate that he die. Spoiler: he dies in this movie, the Joker. So that's I don't know. I kind of didn't want his character to die off, if I'm being honest. He's very iconic, but a lot of superhero movies, for some reason, did that. Also, can I point out one other thing to think about? Now, Batman, when I do those videos on Batman finding loopholes around using guns, um, it doesn't mean that I'm not saying he hasn't killed people. There are definitely times where he has, and it's mostly in the movies where he's done that than the comic books. But you got to keep in mind that, take for example, Sam Raimi with Spider Man. Um, Sam Raimi absolutely loves Spider Man. But is those Spider Man movies 100% accurate to the characters and how they're portrayed? No, they're not 100%. But I love them. I love them. Same with these. But they're not 100% either, for sure. There's plenty of examples and things they get wrong. So, and also it's still Hollywood stuff, even if it's from an awesome director. At least at the time, he was awesome. He does make some comebacks, more recent stuff, and there's sometimes here and there I like Big Fish, Big Eyes, that kind of stuff. The big, as Scruffulus made a joke, the big cinematic universe. I can't wait for his next big project. But yeah, it's still an awesome movie. It has the focus in the right places. I guess another thing I'm not a big fan of is I'm just not a fan of Vicky Vale being a love interest. I love Selena Kyle and Catwoman, and he says in his video he doesn't know much about the lore or anything about Selena Kyle and that. This is really just me say, talking about Scruffulus at times, isn't it? But it gives me a solid working ground to talk about certain things that I agree or disagree with pertaining to this film. Same with Nostalgia Critic. I could use his video. There's plenty of things there because he loves a lot of stuff about this movie. I'm not a fan of, like, once again, the connection between Batman and Joker, that he killed his parents. I'm not a fan of that. I like him to be more mysterious. Yeah, but nonetheless, it's still an awesome Batman film. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you could also hear me fine. I'll try to get to the Spider-Man comics. I'm trying to figure out how to do. I want to do a good Willem Dafoe impression for Green Goblin, and I'm trying to still find my voice for Peter Parker slash Spider-Man. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully you like it nonetheless. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.